We cannot continue to brush this under the carpet. We have to stand and come together as people, not as, because of race or because of economical differences, because of religious differences. We need to come together because we have that one thing in common. Someone took a gun and murdered our loved one. We must come together. So here you are. You have all these homes. People have their guns. They're fighting to keep their guns in their homes, and they have that right. But you're going to have to be responsible for where that gun goes, who uses that gun. Because if you have a car, you're responsible. If you let someone use your car, that's your car, and they go out and get into an accident, that's still your responsibility because you allowed that person to use your car. Well, it's the same thing. If you purchase a gun and it's in your home and someone takes it, you must make sure that that gun that was used for hunting is being used for hunting. Now, many people are feeling somewhat saddened and overwhelmed, and rightfully so, because this thing is like really getting, ridiculous, because the media is like really, again, bringing up certain homicides, certain gun violence. Now, everybody that has been involved in a homicide, every victim's family, every victim's friend, every victim's co-worker, neighbors, it gets you thinking. It should make you wonder, this could happen to me and this could happen to mine. Let's pull together. Our country is in a crisis. Our communities are in a crisis. The inner city's in a crisis. The suburbs are in a crisis. And we must get together and figure this thing out. Now, I agree with our president. He wants to, put a stipulation on how many guns people can buy. I believe it's 1 gun a month. Do mental health checks on people with guns before they can buy a gun. Check the licenses and all these things. And those are good things and they're great things. And I know they're going to put a dent in some of this gun violence that's going on. But what about all those illegal guns that are out there that are right now sitting somewhere? And people are right now at this minute as we are talking, they are buying them, they are receiving them, and they have a plan in their mind of what they're going to do with those guns. We have to sweep the states of the USA and get these guns out of the hands of these young people and anyone else who has an illegal gun and has in their mind that they're going to commit a crime with that gun. It's not easy, and I understand that. It's very hard. It's hard on those people who've lost their loved ones. And how do I know that? Because I lost a loved one to gun violence. And I've had so many people talk to me about, well, what about my loved one? They were murdered a year ago, 3 years ago, 10 years ago. And they tell me, they feel so alone. They feel so like their loved one's life wasn't as important. We need laws where all lives are important, all lives, whether it's been 10 years, 2 years, yesterday when someone was murdered, we need to prosecute these people with these guns that are doing harm to other people. It is getting so ridiculous. So ridiculous. And we're saddened. Survivors of homicide, we're very saddened because we feel almost like a sitting duck. Because it's like if your loved one, wasn't in a certain community or, didn't have a certain financial type of stability, they're forgotten. So I'm asking those of you, include those people who have lost their loved ones, whether it's yesterday or a year ago or 10 years ago. Include them. Find a way to include those people and let them know that we're fighting for them also. We're fighting for their loved ones also, because they're not forgotten. Don't you ever think you're forgotten, because they're not. Now, homicides happen in all kinds of ways. I know we're focusing on guns right now because, that's what's being talked about after massive shootings. But homicides happen in so many other ways. There are vehicular homicides. People go to nightclubs or they sit home, they drink alcohol, they get in a car, and they think they're okay, and they drive that car, and because they're intoxicated, they hit and kill one or more people. This happens just about every single day. It's the same thing. It's homicide. You didn't use a gun, you used a vehicle, but you took someone's life. And guess what? You did it intentionally. You want to know why? Because there's a law that says you cannot drink and drive. So you went drunk and you drive and you killed someone. It's still homicide. Let's not forget those people. Please, let's not do that. Then you have people who die from domestic violence. And that's men and women. It's not just women who die from domestic violence. Men die also. Women kill men also. Those are still homicides. And those people need to be included. Let the world know that you're thinking about these people also. Because they are supposed to be here, and because someone felt that they could take their life, they're not here any longer. Then you have, people who get drowned, people who get strangled, poisoned, tied up and put in a house, and the house, they burn the house up. These are still homicides. Homicides don't only occur with guns. So let these people know that their loved ones are thought about, because they're important. We have to come together and respect life. We have to respect life. We have to respect that God-given right to live. And then after the homicide takes place, we have to live on. And then when we live on, you know what? We live on with issues. We live on with the guilt, the shame, the sadness, the isolation. So many things contribute while you're going through homicide, the tragedy of it. So if you know someone who has lost a loved one from homicide, whether it's a gun, a knife, it doesn't matter, a vehicle, I'm asking you, at this time in this period that we're going through with all this gun violence and everything's about guns, take a moment, please, And think about all those other people who have died, who lives have been taken, and no one's thinking of them. Everyone's thinking about those that have been shot on the streets or in public places. Take a moment and encourage those people. If you love them, then call them, talk to them, take them out, do something, but let them know their loved one is not forgotten. It's important. The reason why I know it's important, you will not believe how many people I talk to on a weekly basis who tell me that their loved one was killed not with a gun, and that they feel overwhelmed, that they feel like their loved one was not important because we're talking about all this gun violence, and rightfully so, we should be. But again, there are statistics that are saying there are wounded vessels out there who lost their loved ones because someone killed them. And they want the same respect. They want the same acknowledgement. They want the same quickness and fire that is being given to every other murdered victim. We have to deal with the big picture. We must deal with injustice. Injustice against who? Injustice against male, female, injustice against religion, injustice against Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, injustice against those with money, those without money, injustice against life. Please, people, look inside of yourself and say you're blessed because you've never been touched by a homicide in your family or a friend or a neighbor. But also look inside of yourself and say, what is it that I can do to help somebody? What is it I can say? Where is it I can go? Find a place to help someone to heal. It's so important. And again, as far as the inner city and the outer city violence that's going on, don't allow the hype of the media to take you into another place with all this gun violence. It's not new. You know that, and I know that. So let's walk in the awareness that we do have, and let's find out what laws we can make to help make a difference, and what we can do to educate our children. Whether it starts in schools, it must start in the homes, it must start in your church or synagogue, whatever. We must look at the big picture, and that is the injustice of race, of religion, and a whole gamut of other things that we've already talked about and that you already know deep down in your heart. So we encourage everyone to stand up, to take a stand against this gun violence, take a stand against this injustice. We are the people, and we have the voice, and our dead, deceased, murdered loved ones cannot speak anymore. We are their voice. And just to switch a little bit off the subject, and we're going to close, is why do I do this work? I hear that a lot. People ask me that question. Why are you doing this? I do it because I care. I know what happened to me when Melvin was murdered. There was nothing and nobody. There weren't services. I didn't know where to go, who to talk to. how to grieve, what is grieving, didn't have time to grieve, had children, had to do all these things. I do it because I care. I do it because I don't want you to go through everything I went through. You're going to go through things, of course, but I just don't want you to struggle like I struggled. Living in denial for years, pretending I was okay when I wasn't, because I was ashamed. I thought I couldn't grieve. I thought I had to be strong, and I couldn't talk about this to anybody because there was nobody like me. And if there was, they turned away because they couldn't even deal with their pain. So I do this because Melvin was murdered. He wasn't bothering anyone. He was not in the wrong place at the wrong time. Melvin was coming home from work. He was a few houses from where he lived. So he was not in the wrong place. You know who was in the wrong place? The person who shot him. They were in the wrong place. So I am saying to you, I understand. I know where you are. And with the help of God and us pulling together as women survivors of homicide, we can heal. We can heal, and we can make changes, and we can make laws, and we can change laws. And that's the only way this is going to work. You need help, and I know you do. I know you're struggling. I know you're lonely. I know you can't even go to family members and talk about what you're going through. I understand that. I understand that your friends don't want to really deal with you. I understand. But no, help is on the way. We'll get through it, and we'll get through it together. You have the number, Melvin's Mission, supporting women survivors of homicide, 857-600-1623. Our website is www.melvinsmission.weebly.com. Please, you can call me. You can go to the website. We're on Facebook. Please do not forget my homicide journey. That's on Facebook. That's me. It's reality. It's honest. It's what I feel. It's what I think. It's what I do. It's all of me. It's my laughter. It's my sadness. It's my happy times. And it's times when there are no tears, and then it's time when there's many, many tears. I want to be transparent. I want to be honest because I know where you are. So please support Melvin's Mission. Check out all those things I just said, website, Facebook, the show that we're on, and hang in there. It will get better. And you know why I know it will get better? Because you and we're survivors, and we're not going to let anything stop us. So I love you. Peace be unto you. Love and health. And hold yourself together, because everything is going to work out if you hold on to your faith. It's your girl Mary, and I am a homicide survivor.